We almost got stuck on autoplay there.
Almost.
Fear not, for we are live, coming to you from the hot city of Tucson, Arizona. Another episode of the Let's Talk About It podcast. 24 hours late, actually, but still happening.
No shortage of shows this week. So.
Not this week. No, you made an amazing recovery, didn't you?
I did what I could.
In the span of like 24 hours, right? Because you were still pretty sick yesterday.
Oh yeah, still little tiny bit, but not enough that I can't not do stuff now. So
yeah, like showable. Like
yeah.
you can do the show now.
Yes.
Whereas yesterday you couldn't.
No.
Like it just wouldn't have been worth.
I mean, we could have had the national coughing podcast of 2020, but I didn't want that yet.
Did we really want to subject our viewers to that? I mean, maybe they would have been obligatory to that, but I don't know. I wouldn't have put them through that. I'm just posting everywhere on that we're live today because it's off schedule.
Alrighty, sir. Well,
Yeah.
Of course, we are at half capacity again. It is, of course, me, Ruben.
And me, Pedro.
And we are not only a day late, but about an hour and a half later than our usual showtime as well.
Yeah, something like that. But it's because we're busy.
Yeah.
We're busy eating, moving couches.
Big boy things to do.
Yeah, we are all grown adults here. So we must tend to grown adult things first. But we got some juicy stories for you guys. We got more delayed video games that I'm sure Ruben's going to cover. I didn't ask if you were, but I just assumed.
Yes.
Because there's a big delay pretty much an hour after we ended last
Yeah.
week's podcast. We got more tech news in the form of biological computation. We got graphics cards drama going on. More graphics cards drama between NVIDIA and AMD. So, of course, I will gladly break that apart here for you. So with that being said, let's just dive right into it. Let's see here. What should I start with? Let's start with the biological computation thing. So, about a week ago, this story was reported, but it's still relevant because we didn't talk about it last week, right? There are these new things called Xenobots that were actually, Alien movie franchise, anyone? But anyway, these things called Xenobots are actually biological robots that were developed here in the United States of America. They're basically, I think it's a cluster of like 100 frog cells that are programmed to execute certain commands, which is weird because there's no circuitry involved, there's no logic gates, there's no resistors, there's no capacitors, there's no transistors involved, none of that. It's 100% purely biological how these robots work. And how do you work, they may ask? Good question. It's actually completely done through the editing of the genome of these particular frog cells. So what scientists do is that they gather a ton of different frog cells, and they kind of sort them out into what these cells may be capable of like doing, right? So like certain actions like moving left or moving right, or just weird things like that. So they group these cells up, and then they edit the genome so that the cell of all these possibilities of what these cells can do, like movement in a certain direction, for example, they edit them down so that it's more likely that they'll stick to one set of actions, like moving left or moving right. And so once they do that, they kind of assemble, like once they have them sorted and edited, they kind of assemble them into this like 100-cell cluster. And then all of a sudden you have a multi-cell organism that can execute a command because it's programmed at the genetic level.
That's wild.
Which is wild. Yeah, like, how? Like, in terms of traditional computational science, right, you have, binary. A yes or a no, or 1 or a 0.
Yeah.
And this isn't exactly how these robots function, these biological Xenobots, but we're getting there. So like, this is just the first step, right? But it's a scary first step. Because to me, the first thing that comes to mind is biological warfare.
Yeah.
I think I heard someone else talking about this, and they basically... Oh, yeah, it was the WAN show from Linus Tech Tips. They were talking about this exact same thing, and they were talking about how easy it would be to wage biological warfare with, something based off the Xenobots, where they could poison a water supply, basically, and have these robots that are programmed to kill you from the inside by, like, for example, causing tumors, you know, like, in your body. Like, that's nuts. That's absolutely nuts. Like, I thought about it a lot because I've heard this story for about a week now. But what comes to your mind, Ruben, when you think about what these robots are capable of?
Honestly, the first thing that came to my mind when you told me about this story was honestly that. Like, the damage you can do with it is scary because it would be undetectable. Like, there's nothing to stop it. But on the contrary to that, there's also a lot of good you can do with it.
Yeah.
For example, like you're saying, they can program it to go in and cause tumors, but I'm sure there'd be a way for them to do the opposite. To go in and...
Yeah, and kill cancer cells.
Yeah.
Like, literally strangle them.
So, I mean, it's scary, but it could be useful if not in the wrong hands.
Yeah. I definitely see that. On the good side of things, you know what I think it could be really useful for? Traumatic damage repair. So, like, if someone just, like, has, like, a nasty gash, like, like we see it in sci-fi movies where, like, people just spray like a nasty injury they have and they just, like, regenerate, basically.
Yeah.
Like, this could be that, like, if these cells, if they program, like, human stem cells or something like that, right? And they just, like, put it in, like, a spray. You just spray yourself down and, like, you just have a new patch of skin or, like, a new set of muscles.
Or even, eventually possibly, like, a cure towards, like, something like Alzheimer's.
Yeah, that too.
Even.
The possibilities are endless, but right now the Xenobot cells, they don't do much. They literally just, like, swim around.
Go left.
Yeah. Go right. Go up. Go down. Don't move at all. Yeah, so, like, of course there's I mean, we're not biologists, we're not computer scientists either, but the specifics on how these work and how the purposeful mutations work in these these Generation 1 Xenobots. They're just starting. This just happened last week, so I think maybe 20 years down the road we might see some practical applications of this. But for now, let's just be glad that they're not trying to kill us with these things. For now. We may have to worry about that later. But that's it for the scary bioterrorism story. Moving on to something a little more lighthearted, which is the drama that's going on between... Well, it's kind of dramatic. It's kind of not. There's a lot of debating going on, and I'll explain that in a second. But it's between AMD and NVIDIA. So, context for these stories, right? Back in the beginning of this month, of January of 2020, when CES happened, right, the first week of January, at AMD's presentation, and we covered this in a podcast already, so this is kind of like a refresher, right? At AMD's keynote, their presentation, they announced their new graphics card, the RX 5600 XT graphics card. Which is like their mid-tier. They marketed it as their like ultimate 1080p gaming graphics card, which is dope, right? So they announced it. It's going to have 6 gigabytes of GDDR memory, and they also announced that it was going to retail for $279, which is a pretty good price spot for a card of the performance that they were touting it to be. They also put it directly competing against the 1660 Ti from NVIDIA, because they're the same price bracket, like $280, $270 for that card, right? Shortly after AMD's announcement of that card, NVIDIA, through EVGA, released a new card called the RTX 2060 KO edition. And they announced that they were dropping the price of that card, because typically RTX 2060 cards are like $350 MSRP. They announced that they were going to drop it all the way to $299, which is $20 more than AMD's RX 5600 XT. So that kind of shook the ground a little bit, and they were just like, ooh, like this is a big change. This is a big deal. Not only did they announce that new, EVGA RTX 2060 KO edition card, but they also dropped the price of every other RTX 2060 card down to $299 as well. Yeah, so you can go to NVIDIA's website directly right now, and you can buy a Founders Edition RTX 2060 for $299, plus shipping and taxes, right? But still, huge price drop, $50. That's like a 14% price drop, which is huge, because NVIDIA never drops their prices.
Yeah.
So that happened with NVIDIA, right? So to kind of counteract that, one day before the AMD's RX 5600 XT graphics card shipped out to reviewers, which means like 3 days before it was shipped out, to be sold in stores or, Newegg and e-tailers and stuff like that, AMD released a new V-BIOS for that graphics card that basically boosted its performance. It brought up the total power that the card draws from 140 watts to 150 watts. And it gave it a nice, boost of power, a nice little overclock, to be more competitive with NVIDIA's, the new lower priced RTX 2060s. And so the reviews came out Tuesday. That's when the review embargo was lifted. And the general consensus is that the 5600 XT is not an amazing value, but it's a solid card for the price. Like if your budget is like absolutely peaked at 280, plus tax, get the 5600 XT, because it's a solid card. As long as you apply the new V-BIOS update that AMD came out for the cards, because the cards aren't shipping with that update. So you have to get the card, to plug it in your computer, you have to download the V-BIOS update for it, update the graphics card BIOS, and then it'll have the performance that's competitive with the RTX 2060. Now, the dramatic part about all of this is not only just, the fighting between AMD and NVIDIA to, claim that $300 sweet spot for a graphics card, but people are mad at AMD that they purposely did not push the card to its absolute limits in the first place. Because AMD, they released that new V-BIOS with the boosted performance, and the cards still run cool. They still, they're stable at that boosted performance. So people are like, what the heck, AMD? Like, why didn't you just ship us a strong card in the beginning?
Right.
To begin with, and just push it to its limits. And it's because they didn't want to make the 5600 XT so strong that it was really close to the next card up in AMD stack, which is the 5700. And now that is the case. So the 5700 and the 5600 XT, really close in performance. Really, really close. And it's a $50 price difference between the two. So that's tough. That's really, really tough. And so people, including myself, I'm not pissed at AMD for it, but that does make me question, how AMD is handling the performance of their cards, and what exactly they're hiding from us in those performances. So that's the drama, going on AMD side. Everyone's kind of mad at AMD for shilling us at a performance. But that doesn't mean Nvidia is out of the bag with no drama either. What's going on here with the RTX 2060 side of things is that the EVGA RTX 2060 KO edition cards are not using RTX 2060 graphics cores like their dies. They're actually using RTX 2080 processing cores that did not pass inspection or quality control to be full-fledged 2080 cards.
Ooh.
That's wild. Yeah. So, but here's the crazy thing. The graphics cores, or the die on the card, right, is essentially a 2080 that didn't pass inspection. Some of the cores are broken, or there's hardware that just didn't fuse right when they were processing that certain chip.
Mm-hmm.
But it does at least provide RTX 2060 levels of performance, which is why they're making this card. But here's the funny thing. EVGA, the people that are selling this card, they had no clue that this was the case. They didn't know that they were purchasing, basically broken RTX 2080 cores to use for their new 2060 card. Until Steve from Gamers Nexus reviewed the card, took it apart, saw the labeling on the die itself, and basically said, EVGA, did you know this? They were like, we didn't know. Can you help us test the card? And they did. And basically, what the testing revealed is that gaming performance between the 2060 KO edition cards and a regular 2060 is about the same, which is expected, right? But the real kicker here is that the RTX 2060 KO edition card is up to 48% faster in workload performance. So things that are video rendering, things like SolidWorks if you're working with designing machinery with CAD, things like that. The card is up to 48% faster just because it's by nature an RTX 2080 core that just didn't perform up to 2080 standards. Yeah. Just by nature of the processing core, which is nuts, which is absolutely nuts to me that this is going on. And so this is nuts, but it's also good because this is the first time we've seen really AMD and Nvidia really get at each other's throats for a graphics card, especially for this segment. And we as consumers, we're benefiting from that. If we're gamers by day, or if we're gamers by night and SolidWorks professionals during the day, we can buy an RTX 2060 KO edition card and get the best of both worlds and really get the best bang for our buck.
Right.
Or if we are really into overclocking and tweaking and we really just want to play games to the best of their ability, we can get the AMD RX 5600 XT card and we can overclock the crap out of that card and we can still have a good time. We can support, AMD's rising future to graphics card dominance that a lot of people have been waiting years and years for now, me included. So yeah, it's nuts what's going on. I love what's going on right now. I live for it. That's why I talk about AMD and NVIDIA every single week on this damn podcast. And it's just great. It's just great. And of course, I'm gonna continue covering this forever and ever until it's until it's boring for me. But anyway, that's enough of me rambling. That's all most of the important news that I found in the tech sector this week. So I will pass off the microphone to you, Ruben, so you can chime us in the latest and greatest in gaming news.
Alrighty, well, sir, it appears that the year of delays is still in full effect.
Yep.
We talked about 2 last week, and we actually have 2 more this week. We have, obviously, one of the bigger games this year, Cyberpunk 2077, delayed.
Yeah.
By, let's see, what is it? 5 months.
5 months.
It was expected April 16th, and now it won't launch until September 17th. Jeez. With them stating that multiplayer probably won't even come till 2021.
Oh, I didn't know about that part. The multiplayer part. Dang.
Which, I mean...
That's sad.
It is sad, and it's going to affect a lot of people's purchase. Probably not mine, just because when I get a game, I prefer to play the story before hopping online anyway. Like, no matter, even if it's something as simple as Call of Duty, where everyone goes for online, like, I always play the story first. Yeah. That's just how I am.
It gets you accumulated to the game.
Yeah. It gets you a nice feel. You get to know, what weapons or techniques or whatever you like best. But that's a big hit. A lot of people were looking forward to that, and it was going to come, like, super early in the year. Granted, the fact that it's later in the year, I mean, it'll stay fresher in more people's minds. So, I mean, if it delivers on the game it's supposed to be, it will be really fresh in everybody's mind around the time it comes to choose for this year's Game of the Year.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. That may be a good political move right there.
Yeah.
For delaying it for that time.
And then next up, this one just announced a couple days ago, Dying Light 2 has been delayed.
Ooh.
Yeah. Dying Light 2 has been delayed by, let's see. Let me see if it says exactly how long. I don't believe it did. They were aiming for spring 2020, but unfortunately need more development time. They didn't give a date. However, I know there's a lot of people looking forward to this game as well, myself included. Yeah. Did you play the first Dying Light at all, sir?
No, I did not play Dying Light.
Oh man, it was so good, and so many people were looking forward to it. They've done a good job at keeping it updated with certain updates. Like, I don't know if you heard recently, they actually had a crossover event with Left 4 Dead in the first Dying Light.
I did hear about that.
So, I mean, it's not like it's an inactive community. There's still a lot of people in on it, and a lot of people who can't wait to get to that next Dying Light game. So this is another big hit. Let's see. And then as for delays, with the 2 last week and the 2 this week, that's all I have for delays.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So one more thing about the delay that I wanted to point out for Cyberpunk. If Cyberpunk comes out the day that they delayed it to, which is September 17th, Avengers, the video game, stands absolutely no chance at being successful, because that comes out September 4th. And everyone's going to forget about Avengers, the game, and they're just going to jump on Cyberpunk.
They're going to have a good week.
Yeah. To be relevant.
So when they release, they better do it right, or else it's going to be gone. It's going to be like...
It's going to be Anthem all over again.
Or like... this was still a successful game, but Tomb Raider 2 made the mistake of releasing the same night as Fallout 4.
Wait, there's a Tomb Raider 2?
Yeah, isn't that Rise of Tomb Raider? I believe.
The movie?
No, the game. The second Tomb Raider.
I don't even know.
Yeah, the second Tomb Raider game. Let's see.
Is it Tomb Raider 2 game?
Yeah. Yeah, Rise of Tomb Raider. Released the exact same day as Fallout 4.
Dude, I had no idea Tomb Raider, Rise of the Tomb Raider was a game.
Yep.
That goes to show that what we're talking about is real and it can happen.
And it's not like Tomb Raider is a small title. Like, it's been around forever.
It's big, yeah. And the original Tomb Raider is still used a lot to benchmark video cards still, because it's a very demanding game.
Yeah.
That's why, dude, I had no clue. Wow. I have been educated today.
Alright. Next up, we got some PlayStation news. Horizon Zero Dawn is rumored to be coming to PC, as well as a number of other PlayStation exclusive titles.
Really?
Yes.
Which ones?
So far, obviously, Horizon Zero Dawn, and then PlayStation actually did a job listing online where they're looking to hire for Last of Us 2. The job listing asks for PC, DirectX 12, and NVIDIA experience.
Dang.
So,
we're hopefully
Last of Us.
We're getting it.
But, I mean, obviously the job description asks for it, but I'm still kind of like, I don't see it happening as much as I really want it to.
Yeah.
Because that's such a big title for PlayStation. For them to be like, yeah, put it on PC.
Yeah, they'd be cannibalizing themselves if they did that. Or they could pull a Rockstar and do a console-only release for, like, a long time.
A year.
Like a year. Which would be smart if they want to bring it to PC. Which we only assume that's what they want to do right now, right? But we all hope that they actually do that.
Let's see. PlayStation. So this story is from PC Gamer by Fraser Brown. It says PlayStation developer Naughty Dog posted a job listing for graphics programmer recently that has people wondering if Sony is giving up another exclusive. The role is attached to Last of Us Part 2, which has only been announced on PS4, but the requirements and skills section lists several things specific to PC. The new graphics programmer would join Naughty Dog's rendering team and need to have a thorough understanding of current GPU architectures, including NVIDIA experience with DirectX 12, and Vulkan is also desired.
Ooh.
Let's see.
So DirectX 12, it's like NVIDIA cards are really good at DirectX 12 games, and then Vulkan is an AMD specific API. So it could be very well programmed for both cards.
And they're finding it weird that obviously they're listing these. They listed specifically APIs and a GPU that you obviously won't find in a PlayStation.
Yeah.
PC programming experience is also listed alongside console experience, making it a bit more explicit. So while it's not confirmed to be coming to PC, we can hope.
We know that at least it's going to be developed.
Yes.
Whether or not it's going to hit market is a whole different ball game, but
and how soon at that, because if it's true and Horizon Zero Dawn is coming to PC, they pulled a way longer wait than Rockstar, because Horizon Zero Dawn is, I want to say, a little over 3 years old now.
Yeah, it's been a while since it came out.
And then let's see.
I'm literally Googling when Biomutant is going to be released. Because we don't know.
And then
I don't know.
I have another short one that we were actually discussing before we started the show, and that is a zombie survival game, Pandemic Express, which used to cost money, is now free to play on Steam. And basically you play as one of 30 people trying to escape zombies and in that group of 30, one of you is secretly infected, and you're basically just trying to escape alive. I just thought I might as well throw it in there since it's used to cost, now it's free. Free games are always fun. And for those who have Epic, next week is Farming Simulator 2019.
Yeah, my favorite simulator.
It's a biggin'.
It's like one of the most popular simulator games.
Yeah.
That was like the first simulator game I ever heard of.
Yeah,
was Farming Simulator.
Don't know why, but yeah. Let's see here.
Yeah, but what was that? Oh yeah, so the Pandemic Express. A lot of people are actually kind of mad that it's free to play now. As you can see on Steam.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of people mad because either they paid for it and it wasn't good, which is why it's free now, or there's people who are just salty and want refunds.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's free, so I'm gonna download it and try it. I obviously don't always believe reviewers because not everyone has the exact same taste in games.
Yeah, and different people have different priorities as far as what they want their gaming experience to be, and they weigh different categories of a game, heavier than others when it comes to them forming their own opinion on it. So, from the trailers I saw about that game, I'm gonna see if I can try and run it on my PC. Because the graphics don't look too demanding per se.
Yeah, it almost looks kind of Team Fortressy.
Yeah, it does. It really does, with the same cell shading and stuff like that. Maybe with a little more gloss at the top layer of each of the graphics. But yeah, interesting nonetheless.
Let's see, and then a couple more free games. Up until Half-Life Alyx comes out, you can collect Half-Life 1 and 2 for free on Steam as well. And I want to say there's another free game that I was...
None that I've heard of. I didn't hear about the Half-Life series, though. That one was, big. That was big news.
Yeah, I'm going to have to get those, because I haven't played Half-Life.
Yeah, I got to claim them. I claim them, too.
I played Source. Counter-Strike Source.
Counter-Strike Source. We need to get CSGO, dude. We need to be professional CSGO players.
Oh, God.
You even have the sniper button on your mouse for that. That can help a ton.
Let's see.
Alright, so update on Biomutant. THQ Nordic said that the release date was 2019, and it's 2020 now, and they still haven't said anything new. I'm pretty sure it's not going to happen. No!
It's gotta happen. If we don't hear about it for the rest of the year, and they're just like, oh, yeah, it's canceled. That would
devastating. Suck. I would never trust THQ ever again. Ever.
And then also in news, Steam's Lunar New Year sale has begun today.
Steam's?
Yes.
Is there anything good? Have you checked? I haven't checked.
I honestly have not checked. I got an update about one of the games on my wish list being on sale, but
I haven't gotten anything, dude.
I don't think it was anything too amazing.
I think my only wish list game now that I bought Risk of Rain 2, I think it's Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, and that game's literally like $13 now.
That's the game that went on sale, Dead by Daylight.
Oh, Omar, you listening to the podcast? I'm not going to buy Dead by Daylight.
But aside from gaming news, sir, that is pretty much all there was. There's still not a lot going on. It's still pretty early in the year.
Yeah.
We have an additional 26 minutes of kill time.
Yeah. We can easily, well, I don't want to say easily, but we can kill that time because we can talk about LCS, because LCS starts this weekend. There's a new play format that's happening this season. And we can also talk about our power rankings for teams and where they will rank.
Dude, I haven't looked at any of the team standings since, or any of the who's on what, because Sneaky's not playing, so I just haven't even checked.
Yeah, like no interest. Yeah. So yeah, that's the first LCS news item, right? Sneaky's not playing competitively this year.
Big oof.
Big oof, yes. But I'm excited to see what he does with his stream now that he has more time to focus on it. Either he's gonna focus completely on streaming and he's gonna do a great job streaming, or he's gonna focus more time into cosplaying.
Well, I want to say he still said that he is gonna be helping, like, run C9 because he has part ownership, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he did post that on his Twitter, which is good to see. But I wonder what went on, because he said that there was a couple offers from other teams, but they weren't good enough for him. Essentially, is what he said. So like, I wonder like what happened there. Like, if Golden Guardians was like, "Come play for us, Sneaky. We'll give you $1 million." You know,
that'd be so weird. Can you imagine having part ownership of a team, but then playing on another team?
Yeah, I wonder if he'd had to sell like his part ownership, that sort of thing. But yeah, that'd be absolutely weird. But as far as like as far as the new format for LCS goes, LCS starts on January 25th, which
2 days.
So 2 days, yeah. With Academy starting on 24th. LCS games will be Saturdays, Sundays, and Mondays. So we're gonna have Monday Night League. So we don't have to watch football anymore on Monday nights. We can watch League of Legends. And basically the Monday Night League, it's going to be 2 marquee LCS matchups. So they're going to put 2 LCS games on Monday. And those start at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time, which I don't know how that translates to Arizona time. But still, that's really cool. I'm actually really looking forward to having 3 straight days of LCS. Yeah. Because I love LCS. I love when the season's live and they're doing stuff like that. Academy games will be Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays, and Mondays.
It's also going to be very interesting to see what all these pros are going to be doing with Set.
Yeah. I personally don't think he's going to be played competitively.
No?
No, I don't think so. I think not consistently. Like, I don't think he's going to be their pick or ban. And he's going to be played in the NALCS at least once, I feel. Who's going to do it? I don't know. I don't think Licorice from C9 would play it. I don't think Impact from TL would play it. I don't think anyone from like the top teams would play it, to be honest. Broken Blade from TSM, don't think he'll play it.
Which is scary because that's when an underdog can potentially
just destroy, dude, with Set. I mean, he's a good pick against against tanky frontline picks.
Like, I could definitely see, like, if Set was around last season when I forgot who it was that took Nautilus mid and was just dominating.
I want to say it was Power of Evil.
And if they had a Set pick against that, like, with how much damage Set does when he ults tanky people, like,
Boom.
That could have changed the course of the whole game.
Yeah, for sure.
So, I mean, it's gonna be interesting to say the least. I feel
very interesting. Yeah, but I think it's gonna be the same as like what happened with Jin on release. Sneaky played Jin for the first time in NALCS, and C9 lost that match, but he proved how strong Jin could be, and no one really played him after that. He was played in LCS, but it was like a dime a dozen. Like it wasn't really played that much, and I think that's gonna be what happens with Set. There's going to be certain matches where like you'd be dumb not to take Set if the enemy has like a frontline, very tanky frontline composition where you can just ult the tank into their own team and then just have the rest of your team just follow up after Set and just clean up after that. But who knows? We'll see. I'm excited to see it. But back to the LCS format. Academy Rush is a new thing that LCS is doing. Those will be the Academy games. They're the Academy games that air on Fridays at 5 p.m. Pacific time. And it's going to be 4 Academy games played at the same time.
Ooh.
So, like, going on at the same time. And then the 5th and final game is going to be, like, the show match of the night, of the Friday night. So that's going to be pretty cool, because then, like, I mean, this is wishful thinking, but imagine going into a bar with like tons of TVs, right? Like an Applebee's, and each TV has a different Academy game playing, and then you could just watch whichever one you want, right? So it's kind of like the same thing that's done like with college football or like with NFL. Actually, I don't know if they do that with NFL, but I think they do that with college football games. That there'll be 4 going on at the same time, and then like the channel will just switch between the college games as interesting stuff happens, right? Same thing with the Academy League. It's really cool that I think the LCS is taking more attention towards the Academy players, because Academy, like, nothing ever happened in Academy. Like, the LCS would show maybe 3 games of Academy throughout the whole season and then just left it alone. There's some good talent in Academy, and if the LCS wants to work long term, they have to make Academy a big deal, because that's where they're going to be getting most of their new LCS talent is going to be from Academy.
Well, when do we get our pro player trading cards?
I know, right? I have 5 Bjergsons and a holographic Sneaky.
I got a rookie Sneaky card.
First edition. It's worth like $1,000 on eBay.
It'd be so sick. I'd buy them.
Yeah, I would too. Just my favorite player. I keep it in my wallet for protection, you know. I'd rub it every time I'm about to go into a ranked game, just for luck. But yeah, so those are like the big changes for LCS. Lots more LCS gonna be watchable this season, which I am all for. Because Saturday and Sundays only, like, now we have essentially double that of league games that we can watch. So I'm really, really excited. But yeah, that's it for the formats. We can go on and talk about the teams and where we think the teams will end up as far as rankings go.
I'm down. I don't know many of the teams, but I will take a gander.
Yeah, I mean, we can Google it real quick. I'm pretty sure, I'm like fairly sure, that the general consensus for everyone is that Team Liquid will be the champ again this year.
Really?
For this split, yeah. And I think so too. I'm trying to find here just like the roster list, because I know like for like the smaller teams, like for Dignitas that's back in the LCS this season, Evil Geniuses, you know, I don't know, and which is back also in the league scene for the first time since like 2013. You know, with that being there, I don't know their full rosters off the top of my head. So let's see here. So let's start off with our favorite team, Cloud9. So what the heck? Hold up. I don't think this is right because I don't see. No, wait. Hold up.
I think I got it, sir.
That can't be right.
Which one are you looking at?
I'm looking at the one from Dot Esports.
Oh yeah, that's the one I'm at.
But this is 1 month ago. I need to find a more recent one. All right, preseason power rankings. The only reason why I think this article that I pulled up isn't accurate is because it doesn't list Licorice as C9's top lane. And I'm pretty sure Licorice is staying as C9's top lane. But I could be wrong. I just don't think it's right. Alrighty, let's see here. So let's look at Cloud9's roster on ESTNN. Never heard of them before. But yeah, so alright, so Cloud9's roster as listed here. Top lane Licorice, Blabber jungle, Niski mid, Sven as ADC, and then Vulcan for support. Do you have any thoughts on this before I chime in?
I mean, I have hope for Sven, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's hear your thoughts.
Yeah, so I have a handful of thoughts on this team so far. Licorice, solid top laner. Like I have no doubts that Licorice is going to be one of the top performers on C9. Same thing with Blabber. Blabber is an amazing jungler. He proves that he can play under pressure. The one game that he played at Worlds when C9 was eliminated and they still had one game to go, Blabber was a monster. He did really, really well. Niski mid lane, I'm not a big Niski fan. I don't think he has put a lot of work into carrying Cloud9 on his back like Jensen did. Which, I mean, it's kind of unfair to compare Niski to Jensen, but at the same time, like, they brought Niski in to replace Jensen. So you have to do what that word is, replace, right?
Yeah.
And I just don't think Niski has lived up to those expectations. But nothing personal against the guy. He's just not as good as Jensen. But there's lots of people that are not as good as Jensen, so it's nothing to be ashamed of, right? And then the bot lane, Sven and Vulcan. Sven is a good player. I feel that his time on TSM really shook him, and that's why he was a poor performer on TSM, just because of all the pressure that TSM as a team and as an organization puts on their players. That's no secret. Do I think that he's going to be more laid back on Cloud9? Yes. Do I think this is going to make him a better player? No. His support, Vulcan's not a bad player. But I don't think Vulcan will play up to Sven's expectations, and it's going to lead Sven to be a diva and to kind of just
do his own thing.
Yeah. And I think Sven's excuse before was the team pressure and the atmosphere at TSM. His excuse this season is going to be Vulcan being his support on Cloud9. But that's just my theory, right? I see Cloud9 being a very middle of the pack team for this season. That's my 2 cents. They're going to be like a 4th or 5th place team consistently, just off of the roster. Lots of people are predicting they'll be like the number 3 team. That's completely doable, but do I think it's going to happen? No, I don't think so. Who's going to be the number 3 team? I don't know. I haven't thought about it that much. I don't have a full roster. I don't have a full power rankings list, so this is just me blabbering.
Do you think TSM has any better of a chance this year than last year? They were kind of non-existent in my book.
Yeah, they've been forgotten about for like 2 years at least now in the LCS. Their roster is Broken Blade top, Dardoch jungle, Bjergsen mid, Kabe ADC, and then Biofrost their support. I think if anyone's going to carry this team, I think it's going to be Biofrost and Kabe. Kabe's an import from EU. He's a solid ADC. Biofrost is an amazing support.
Yeah.
And I think if you give Biofrost the proper motivation, he's an amazing player, and he's proven himself in solo queue time and time again when he plays with double lift and solo queue. That just for one example, that he can be an amazing player and he can show up. So that's what I'm expecting of Biofrost and Kabe, their bot lane. I don't count on Broken Blade to carry Bjergsen. Like, he's a good player, but I don't count on Bjergsen to carry the game as much as he did before, just because of meta. And as far as Dardoch being the jungler, Dardoch has been on pretty much every team in the LCS at this point. And his behavioral issues is what has kept him from seeing success. TSM has the resources to reform him, but do I see it happening? No, I don't think Dardoch is going to be a powerhouse in the TSM squad. I think he's going to do good in the beginning of the season, but I don't think he's going to consistently be a powerhouse for the team.
There's a jungler last season who made a big impact, I thought, and I'm not seeing him on anybody's roster this year.
Who is it?
Contracts for Golden Guardians.
Oh yeah. I don't think Contracts is playing in LCS. I think he's Academy.
Oh really?
Yeah, I think he relegated. I don't know if he was relegated or he relegated himself to Academy, but I'm pretty sure he's playing on Academy now.
Man, I really liked him.
Yeah, he was a good talent. He did solid when he was on Cloud9. And I was sad to see him leave Cloud9. But that was right around the time that franchising happened in the LCS. And you bet your ass that Contract made a good paycheck switching from C9 to the teams that he went to. I think he went straight to Golden Guardians from that. But yeah, lots of money in Contract's pocket. Unfortunately, not domestic success. Golden Guardians were amongst like the lowest ranking teams. But yeah, I'm pretty sure he's in Academy now. So we'll see him Friday nights. Let's see. What's another team? Is there a team in specific that you want to talk about?
I mean, based off all the rosters I'm seeing, I can definitely see Liquid dominating again.
Yeah. For Liquid, though, they're not going to have Broxa, their new jungler there, the only change they made this season, because of visa issues. So, yeah, I don't think they've said who's going to be their jungler in the meantime either. I do know Pobelter is like a strategic coach for Team Liquid, and Pobelter has been playing jungle in solo queue for a little bit now. So I would be super hyped to see Pobelter play jungle for Team Liquid. I don't think he'd do really well, even though Pobelter's a really smart guy, like he's a really talented player. I would not expect great things of him being Team Liquid's interim jungler while Broxa gets his visa issues sorted out. Actually, fun fact about that too, Liquid's I Will Dominate. You know who he is, right?
Yeah.
He's part of their content creation team, and he's a streamer for them. He was actually approached by Team Liquid to play jungle for them while they got Broxa in.
Ooh.
And he said like, no, like I Will Dominate basically said no, like I don't want to go through all the hoops and jump through the loops to get back into LCS to play LCS again, just to be kicked out right when Broxa comes back in. And I understand because he makes a lot of money streaming.
Yeah.
And streaming is way more relaxed than playing in the LCS. So that was a fun little tidbit that I learned this past week.
Let's see.
There is one team I want to talk about for sure. This is a team that I have high hopes for. But I wouldn't be disappointed if they didn't make it, top 3, this year. I have high hopes for Evil Geniuses.
I was going to say them.
Yeah, so as far as their roster goes, they have Kumo top, which is C9's Academy top laner, Svenskeren jungle, Jizuke mid, Bang ADC, and Zazel support. The reason why I have such high hopes for this team is because they have a strong frame to build upon.
Mm-hmm.
And that frame being Zazel in support and Svenskeren. They were teammates on C9 for the longest time.
Yeah.
And then you also have Kumo, who's their top laner, who was the Academy top laner. But C9 culture is pretty tight knit. How tight that is between Kumo and Svenskeren and Kumo and Zazel, I don't know. But those are solid players to base off of. Jizuke is a European mid laner. He was never like a super amazing mid laner in Europe, but nonetheless, if he doesn't have to carry the entire team on his back. He just has to not fall behind and be a solid rock for his team. And I believe Svenskeren can carry.
Yeah.
Because Svenskeren's like one of the best junglers in NA. No contest. My sore spot in this team is definitely Bang. Their ADC, former SKT T1 world champion Bang. He's I don't want to say he's washed up, but he's definitely not performing to the level that everyone was expecting when he came to NA.
Yeah.
Which is sadly the case for a lot of imports, especially Korean imports. We saw that happen with Huni. We saw that happen with Phoenix. We saw that happen with Reignover. And now we're seeing that with Bang. And we saw that happen with Rush too. With Rush on C9. Lots of Korean imports that just come here and just don't perform to the level that they were expecting to. The Korean monsters. So if there's a weak spot on this team, I definitely think it's gonna be the bot lane, Bang and Zazel. Most of it being Bang's part, and Zazel just kind of following suit because he's the support.
Yeah.
And if it's not them, then I definitely think it's Kumo, their top laner. He's a really good top laner, but as far as playing an extended LCS season under that pressure, I just don't think he's gonna fare that well under pressure compared to other NA top laners like Licorice, like Impact. I expect Kumo at his worst to perform like Huni, like to be a really talented but just feed every game for whatever reason. But yeah, I have high hopes that Evil Geniuses at their peak can reach top 3 NA.
I can see that.
Under TL, and you know, maybe Cloud9 or TSM. It's up in the air between those two, but that's my opinion.
I think, I don't know, I think Dignitas might have a better shot than TSM.
Really? You think Dignitas could
Yeah.
beat TSM? Maybe. I mean, if TSM doesn't get their shit together, I mean, Dignitas has a pretty strong roster. They got Huni top, Grig, which is TSM's ex-jungler. He's a really good jungler. Frog and mid, Johnson, ADC, and then Afromu support. From what I have heard, Johnson has been impressing a lot of people with his with his play. He is a rookie, but he's been an impressive rookie from what I've heard. League podcasters and people close to the industry say, like they're expecting good things from Johnson. Funny thing about Johnson, actually, I will dominate duo queued with him. And they lost all 5 games together. And I think Johnson currently has like a 39% win rate in solo queue. Yeah, so I mean, that solo queue competitive is a whole different beast. But yeah, I think Dignitas, they have the makings of a strong team. It's just that between Huni, Grig's stress problems, and Froggin's inconsistency, and Johnson being a newbie, and Afromu possibly kind of being burned out, I can expect great things of them, but again, I would not be surprised if they were just like
flop.
Yeah, if they were just garbage. If they were just garbage every single game for the whole season.
They're either gonna be at the top or all the way at the bottom.
yeah. Like there's no middle ground for Dignitas, and I think most of that honestly is on Huni.
Yeah,
because Huni's Huni. He's either stomping or he's not, or he gets stomped. There's no in between for Huni. Let's see here. I don't think there's any other teams that I want to talk about. I think some just like teams to kind of mention real quick. 100 Thieves. I think they could be really good. Someday is back in the LCS. He's a solid Korean top laner. Not like impact level consistent, but he's strong. He has his days. They also have Meteos as their jungler. Cody Sun. One of the best, not the best, but I think one of the most underrated ADCs in the NALCS for sure. That's my thoughts on 100 Thieves, really. All the other teams, Immortals are back in the LCS. They don't strike confidence in me.
They got Smithy.
Yeah, they got Smithy, so he's gonna be like the backbone of the team for sure, just like a solid jungler. They have Soaz from Europe as their top laner, returning to competitive play. Soaz has historically been a good player, but he hasn't been a really good player in quite some time. So I'm not expecting Soaz to carry the new Immortals roster. I'm glad that the brand is back in the LCS though. Because I remember how hyped Immortals were back when it was Immortals Huni and Immortals Reignover. They went undefeated like for the entire split. They were like 16-0. That was a dominant team, and then they failed to qualify for Worlds. They didn't make it to Worlds. Wow. But I don't expect them to make it to Worlds this season, but they have a good chance at being a competitive team.
Right, sir. I believe that is it for the Pro Talk. I'm not seeing any other ones that I want to mention.
Yeah, I have no other input, so is that what do I hear? Is that the end of the podcast that I'm hearing?
I believe it is, sir.
Yeah, I mean, we've been going for almost an hour, so I think this would be a good time to stop and upload everything that we have to Spotify eventually. You got people listening there. Let's go over before we end. Let's go over our our metrics for our listeners. not on Twitch, but on Anchor. I'm trying to bring them up here real quick, but 86% of our listeners are from the United States. 4% of our listeners are from Sweden. 4% from Canada and 4% from Poland.
It's just PewDiePie listening.
That'd be great.
Dude, imagine.
When we don't get a shout out because he's quit YouTube already. Yeah, but I honestly wonder if these are people just using VPNs to listen to us. I honestly wonder.
That is possible.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking's happening there. Well, I know we have at least one listener that's actually from Canada because he's tuned into our stream before. So shout outs to that guy if he ever wants to come back. But as far as let's see here, as far as our listenership from different platforms, do we have that? I know I just saw that actually. Our different platforms analytics. So I think that's really important to point out too. If you guys listen on Spotify, or if you listen on iTunes, or whatever, or on directly through Anchor, if you listen to us at all, even our live stream, like, we definitely appreciate it. So
for sure.
So yeah, thanks for continuing supporting the podcast by listening to it. We definitely have lots of fun doing this, and even if no one listens, I still have lots of fun doing this and just talking about it.
It's a blast. That's why I didn't want to totally pass up this week. So I still wanted to try and do it because I do have a blast doing this.
Yeah, same, dude. And thanks for champing up, and even though you're still sick, still doing the podcast. Mad props to you, dude. But yeah, so we'll play our outro music again. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys, and we will see you next week.
Whoop, whoop.